I'm just going to start the stream and you can share it or whatever.
Yeah, start it up.
But here we go. And we're live.
And we're live.
We are live.
Oh man.
So
this whole Facebook Live doing virtual stuff is brand new to me, man.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Yeah, definitely. So, hey, everybody, Steve here and Miro here. We're here with Local Level Podcast. It's been a few weeks since we've recorded a episode or you've seen us at all or me at all because for the obvious reasons with everything going on. But I wanted to release something and also to give you an update that the past interviews that we did with our other guests, and I have a few of them saved, I felt that it'd be weird to release that stuff because I know that nobody's working and nobody's in business. So I figure it would be kind of interesting to see once all this stuff pans out, kind of where these people were right before this stuff hit, So that's that's basically how things have been and what's been going on. But how have you been holding up, Miro? I know you talked about it a little bit. I was definitely ringing the warning bells a little bit sooner than you were, but how are you holding up now that it's kind of hit?
Well, yeah, good talking to you. I'm actually trying to share this. Do you know why it won't let me share it?
I don't know, man.
Any idea?
I don't know.
But yeah, this hit quick. Yeah, you were calling it, man. You deserve to be on like CNN right now, or one of those, CNBC something talking, because clearly you had something right here, man. I don't know if you invest, but
yeah,
yeah. I don't know, man. If you were calling us, months ago, I remember like beginning of January when this wasn't even a thing yet. It was just like, oh, okay, it's going to be another one of those, Ebola or mad cow or something like that, and that's what everybody thought, and you were telling me the opposite the whole time, and
yeah,
here we are. What is this? 3 months later, and we're in like a complete lockdown. So
yeah,
it is crazy. The times have, like, no one expected this. I was talking to my grandpa, and he really kind of put it into perspective for me. We were talking yesterday, and he's like self-quarantine. He lives by himself.
Yeah.
Self-quarantine him completely, especially himself, especially because me, like I traveled a few weeks back. My parents did as well. So like he wanted to make sure nobody comes by the house. Like anything that even gets delivered to him, he lets it sit for a certain amount of time. And he's almost 82 years old.
Right.
And when he told me there was never a time in his life ever. And he's experienced a few things here and there. 82 years, that's not a little bit of time to be alive. That's a lot. And
definitely,
he said nothing like this ever. And he lived in Poland during the Cold War era. He lived during those times, and he was raised. He was still a kid during World War II, but he went through some crazy times, and he said nothing like this that he could remember. Where church. No. Where you can't, I'm just, not that that's something I'm going to talk about on the show, but, even like church, for example, like if that church is shut down, like that's how things, it's a big deal. Like that doesn't happen.
Right.
Ever. He told me he doesn't remember that ever happening.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, this is
crazy
unprecedented.
Time.
Yeah, it's an unprecedented thing. And, for, I guess to back up as far as how I was kind of like onto this stuff has been rumbling on the back channels, not outside of mainstream news and mainstream media for months. They've been talking about these things, these sicknesses, strange sicknesses, since like November, and even before that in some cases. And I don't know if you remember, but a few months back, everybody was basically just talking, oh, the flu season is just so bad. It's so bad. Yeah. I've never seen anything like this. It's crazy. And, I didn't
think about that.
I got sick. I got more sick than I've ever gotten. I don't even remember ever being more sick than I was in December. And I was out for like almost a week where I couldn't even get up. It was terrible. It was so horrible. And I'm not sure if that maybe was the virus. I hope it is. I hope it was. But, if it was the flu, I don't know. But I'm not going to take a chance because if there's something that's worse than that, how I was feeling, then I don't think I'll make it, because I was just about ready to go to the hospital. Like on the last day before it really started breaking, I was like, if this goes on.
When was that? This was a couple months ago, right?
This was like in December, so you know it was a while. It was a while ago, and you know, even like right around then, that's when we started hearing news out of Asia, and you know, people kind of saying there's some weird things going on. People are covering things up in China, which happens all the time.
Which now, right? All of a sudden, China has no deaths, no new cases, like nothing.
I mean,
how do you feel about that?
I don't believe any of it. I don't believe it at all. I mean, I think that, you know, I mean, I don't want to, you know, make this into a big conspiracy show, but the fact of the matter is it's a communist government. So you can't trust anything that comes out of that, you know. I mean, it's they're not going to tell you that they're doing things the wrong way. They'll never admit that type of stuff. People are dying. There's people dying all over the world. And regardless if they're telling the truth or not, I hope they're telling the truth. I pray that we do see that leveling, but I don't see it. I don't see it. You know, with Italy and all that, you're seeing huge amounts of people dying and just a few thousand more recovering. It's almost in some cases like, you know, almost equal recoveries versus deaths. And the numbers that we're seeing reported, since the incubation time is so long, we're seeing what was going on 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago as far as infection rates go. So when you talk about an infection growing exponentially, you know, every person that gets it, since it's so contagious, can spread it. Everybody they come into contact with for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. That's an insane amount of time. And you know, some people are asymptomatic and are spreading it and they have no idea.
Yeah.
And so that's why it's so dangerous. That's why we're seeing what's going on right now. And
the beaches of Florida, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the timing couldn't have been worse. I mean, you're talking about something where, and this is an interesting thing that is kind of scary, actually, is the fact that right now, Australia and the southern hemisphere is going into wintertime. So what they're saying is this is something that will probably take a little lull in warmer weather with more humidity, and you know, it's not as healthy, not as conducive for the spread of the virus, but it's gonna blow up in those southern hemisphere places. So that's what they're saying. We don't know yet if it does blow up in those.
Oh yeah, because there've been like no cases, right? Like South America, for example.
Well, yeah, it's Africa. You know, they're in a lot of those cases. It's because they're not testing because they're less fortunate countries. But the fact is, we don't know anything about it. Nobody's got an immunity, and bottom line is, they wouldn't be doing this if they weren't terrified. They wouldn't kill the world, you know, economy.
But why? I mean, I don't know. Like, there's so many statistics out there, right? Everybody's saying something different. You know, some are out there talking about why are we not open? Like Sweden, for example, they're running fully right now. I mean, yes, they canceled everything, 500 people or above, events like that, but everything else, they're operational, and their numbers are very equivalent to their neighbors, Norway and Denmark. You know, just slightly a little higher tick in deaths, for example, not too much more. And they're running everything as if it was, you know, half a year ago.
Well, I mean, at the same time, there's going to be outliers in every situation, you know. Some things are just that they're not reporting it. Sometimes genetics play a role. There's a lot of things that are coming out where that they're saying
the Swedes are superior. That is what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying. No, not at all. But you know, I mean, it's too soon to tell. This hasn't even started yet, is the scary part. The scary part of this is that it hasn't even started yet. You know, if you're looking at the press conferences going out, and you know, whatever your views are politically, you know, you have the government getting up there and shutting down they're talking about quarantines, worldwide quarantines, all these crazy things. So, you know, if they weren't terrified, they wouldn't be doing this stuff. And the fact of the matter is, we have history to show us how these things spread in the past. The difference is, the last time that we had plagues, the population of the world was super, super small compared to the way it is now. So, with the way things are right now and what they're doing, you're talking about in history, like for the Spanish flu, if we look at that came in 3 waves. And that's,
but is it right that comparing it to such an event of such catastrophe?
yeah, I think that they're planning that it could be worse than that. And
but how come, there's all these things right now, if you really dig into the numbers, there are still so many other things that cause way more death.
But I mean, here's the thing: we haven't even started yet. We are at the very beginning of something that has never been seen before, as far as with the numbers and the rate of transmission and the way we're. Think about it like this: that was in 1917, 1918. That's when they were using ships. That was before flight. That was before people had, communication and all that type of stuff. And, they were spreading things around. They were going around. But there was a huge difference in the amount of people that we have today and the mobility where people are going from, just like you, for instance, when I was telling you, don't fly to Seattle, don't fly to New York. That's stupid. And now you see those are the 2 places where the most cases were. And that's how it would be.
I've been fortunate. I didn't make the smartest of decisions. I mean, at the time,
you were just listening to the hype, and you were listening to things, and you thought it was nonsense. But
because at the time it was like 100 couple cases. I don't know. I look back at it as the last 20 years of all the other smaller ones we've had, and kind of looked at it that way. And I mean, I was doing what I could to stay away to an extent.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was definitely in the back of my mind. It was. I'm not gonna lie. It made it kind of weird. I felt like an outlaw. Like I landed. I came back a couple weeks ago. I don't even remember what day it was. Like 2 weeks ago, I want to say, give or take. Yeah. And I remember flying, and man, like just being at the airport, everything it just felt so weird. Like I never experienced anything like it. There's just people walking around with the masks and taking these extra precautions. Like it's just a weird state.
Yeah.
In a weird time.
Well, this has never been seen before. And the thing is, like, where we're at, and, these are my opinions, and this is just going off of, what I consume as far as looking at the chatter on the internet.
You definitely have an extremist view. I know you do. I'm kind of more in the middle. I wouldn't say I have an extremist view.
I think that I just have more information than you do. I think that I am constantly kind of plugged into the background chatter as opposed to, just what is the mainstream stuff. And I'm not talking about conspiracy theories. I'm not talking about that. But you gotta listen to what people are saying, because
you do. I also think that too much news could be too much.
Sure, you can get wrapped up in things. You can definitely get wrapped up in things. But the fact is, when totally different viewpoints, when totally different camps are merging into the middle, and you're seeing people from all walks of life, all different places across the world, converging on one certain thing, and you're not hearing it in the mainstream news because they don't want to tank the economy, because they don't want to cause panic, because they don't want people going to take all the toilet paper and then, all that stuff. They don't want to do that. You can't cause widespread panic. So that's why you've seen they have to roll these things out in little chunks. And, to just give you an idea of where I'm at in my head, I'm thinking that, number one, this is going to last for several months. This is going to be until, if it gets better, it will also get worse after that, once the fall comes. This is the same timeline as the Spanish flu, where it comes in the spring, and then it takes a lull during the summertime, and then it comes back in the fall because it's made its rounds, and it comes back, and so we're looking at this stuff, and historically we could see that's how this always works. And the scientists are saying the same thing. So as far as we're concerned, in our day-to-day jobs and running our businesses and things like that, we're in a situation right now that's unprecedented. Our lifetimes, at least, and also your grandfather's lifetime. He's never seen that stuff. Nobody's ever seen this, not in generations. So we're talking about something that's just unbelievably disruptive for everything involved. So I don't see any of us ever really getting back to normal. I think that unfortunately we've been really riding it high for the past few years. You know, for the past 20 years, we've been riding it so high. We've been so lucky. We haven't had any, real struggle in this country. Sure, we had a war over there. There's always death and destruction over there, but it's never here, It's never hit us at home.
If you look at it, for the most part, it's been a pretty good life, right? Like, especially, I would say, like, our ages, like we're in our low 30s.
Right.
It's I can't think of too many bad. I mean, yes, there were. We lived through 9/11, the wars, right, as you mentioned, right? But besides that, like having to worry about not being able to go somewhere, running out of things, and not having a job.
Yeah.
Yes, that there was the recession as well of 2008, 7, 8.
Right.
But for the most part, everything came back, and it came back better than ever every time. After the bubble in 2000, after 9/11, after the housing market crash, like everything kept booming, booming, booming. I mean, who's to say it's not going to come back to that? Well, I don't know that. I mean, I like to be open that I want to keep doing things. I want to take all precautions. Like for me personally, with my business, with where I'm at, I'm taking all these extra precautions, and I have to. I need to make sure we're legally covered, that we're doing everything possible to keep our customers, our clients, our employees safe.
Yeah,
like that's more important than ever right now. Especially just you want to make sure you're there for them, and I want to keep people still employed. Like I don't want to have to lay anyone off. That's difficult. Like it
is difficult.
I have about 12 employees now, and that's hard. Like I don't want to lay them off. I have had to have numerous meetings with people, numerous talks, constantly reinforcing that we are doing everything in our power. I've been blessed to have an essential business, I guess you can say, a relocation and waste removal company. So I have been blessed with that. But even with that, we're only running at like 50% capacity. So it's tough.
The fact is though that it hasn't even really hit yet. I mean, we're looking at the last time I checked in Illinois, it's like 4,000 something cases.
Yeah.
And that's nothing, I mean, New York is like 40,000 cases. And, we're talking about mass death. We're talking about death of people where it's not over there somewhere. It's down the street. It's your neighbor, all that. So there is going to be something that, yes, there's going to be a rebound, obviously, at some point. Like, either we're not going to make it or we are, right? So at some point it'll either get better or it won't. But, assuming that it's going to get better, assuming that that's next year sometime, maybe we get a vaccine next year sometime, assuming that all happens, even after everything's safe, even after we're all clear to go out, people are going to be stigmatized. People are not going to go out to crowded places. They're not going to go into social situations, and they're not going to spend money because they're going to be in depression mode. Everybody has that grandparent or somebody, a family member that lived through depression, and that they do not spend money on frivolous things. They save, they stock up, and that's what we're going to see again, because we're talking about a large loss of life. We're talking about a loss of income. We're talking about a loss of everything that you really have and you've worked for. So people are going to be ruined. And for the fortunate ones that can survive through this, financially and otherwise, obviously, and just in life, it's going to be a totally different landscape. It's going to be a totally different world. There's going to be many more workers as opposed to entrepreneurs, I would imagine. There's going to be more workers, I would imagine.
But just look back at it. Every single decade, there's something. There's always something. Like we can't predict what's going to happen right now.
Yeah.
But there's been something since the beginning of time.
There's
always been something.
There is.
Whether it's some kind of other plague or virus or some kind of big war or explosion, we all get together. We recoup.
Oh yeah, we will.
We figure out new ways. We have to adjust. Some things will go away. They will. Certain jobs will go away forever.
Yeah. I think that specifically, though, I agree. I am positive about things. I think that we will. I think that the biggest positive about this is people are starting to come together to help each other.
Yeah, come together.
People haven't been faced with a collective crisis. It's always a pet project crisis here and there. Somebody's, oh, we got to do this and that. We got to do this and you're bad. But we've never been faced with something that everybody is on equal ground. Doesn't matter if you're rich. Doesn't matter if you're poor. You're equally, affected by this stuff.
Well, if you're rich, you get to actually get tested. We don't.
So what? Tested or what? Honestly, if you go to get tested, you're probably a fool because you're going to expose yourself to people that are coming into contact 100% with people that have it. So testing's not going to help you.
I know a couple of people, for example, that have had signs and were concerned and they were turned away.
Yeah. Well, I mean, see, the thing is that there's no sense in panicking yourself about a test because a test is just going to, if you don't have it, you have a greater chance of having it now. You know what I mean? Like, just assume you have it. Assume everybody around you has it, and you'll be better off. And listen to the orders. Stay inside, because if you stay inside and you follow, the guidelines, is the best guidelines that we have for something.
You think it's working? You think this whole shelter situation is working?
I don't know. I hope so, but I don't think they don't even clearly know how it is spread yet. They know that it's spread and you can get it through certain ways, but there's a lot of things coming out that are also very disturbing, that it is airborne for a long period of time. That's what they say. They say things. There's, I hate to scare people about like food delivery, but if you're getting hot food, sure, that's good. Maybe it's probably better. But if you get a cold sandwich, all it takes is somebody in that kitchen. And have you ever been, you worked in the industry, you've seen things. Those kitchens are cramped. People are moving around. People are touching things. People are doing the best they can with the safety protocols they have. But when you're dealing with something that's airborne, you can infect just from your breath.
You're killing me, man.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm getting a delivery in about 10 minutes.
And I think that it's good to support business, but I think what we're gonna, and this is I don't want to scare people. I think you got to live your life the best you can, but you also have to, kind of be realistic about things. We're gonna start hearing stories when this gets bad about people getting infected through Amazon deliveries, people getting infected from touching the mail, people get infected from coming into contact with the box that the food's in.
I hope not.
I know you could hope, but you got to plan for the worst.
I want to counter with the optimistic side.
Okay.
We are making some headway. I hope. It sounds like it. You got Elon Musk, right? He's going to be popping out ventilators left and right soon because apparently nobody else can make them. That's one positive. We got another one, like you kind of started talking about. We're coming together as a community, as friends, as family. We're reconnecting. We're realizing what kind of damage we've done to the environment, to the world. Maybe this is going to bring out the best in people.
Well, I think and I hope
we're going to learn how to conserve. We're going to learn that what we use and what eventually comes out of the waste after we use it does make a pretty damn large impact.
Yeah.
Just there's pictures out there, and I don't want to say for sure how real or not they are, but that show there's like no smog all of a sudden. You could all of a sudden see the trees. You could actually see the sun in certain parts, and all these little things, they add up. So maybe people will start realizing, what we've become as a bigger whole. And maybe we can reverse some of the aging that's occurred to the earth, or at least slow it down because of all this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you want to stay optimistic about things, but you also have to prepare for the worst and be realistic about the possibilities for how bad things actually can get. I think that we are,
yes. I mean, I'm not arguing that. You want to be informed.
Yeah, and not only that,
but I think you don't want to instill too much of this fear as well, because then you got the people that are all running, and then you got paper towel,
Well,
toilet paper.
yes,
that's sold out,
exactly.
and you got people that actually need the damn toilet paper.
Yeah,
and
here's the
wanna
thing.
have
Here's
one roll for their office.
this
'cause
is
they
a
have
this is a
employees, and they
good
can't even
point.
get a roll.
It's a good point. A good example of that is how the government's handling things and how the governments around the world in a lot of cases have handled things, where you can't just be like, 1 million people are going to die. This is what we know. You can't get the government briefing. You can't say that to the public. And as much as people think that they can handle it, they can't. Because you see an example, short-term example is, what we saw with the toilet paper hoarding, which is ridiculous. But at the same time, I have more toilet paper now than I would have had this not happened. I didn't buy a truckload, but I'm sure glad that I have it just in case. And
I'm just curious, Steve. How much did you get?
No, I mean we I'm not going to give numbers, but nothing crazy. I mean enough to last a couple months.
Are you that guy that we saw on the internet that pulled up his garage and he had
Oh yeah. See though, but that's another example of entrepreneurship, and that's the dirty part.
Is that entrepreneurship?
Oh, absolutely, it is.
Dirty entrepreneurship.
It's not dirty. It's opportunism, which is part of entrepreneurship for the most part in all cases. But there are things there's downsides to everything. There's winners and losers on every deal.
He got what he had coming.
I think it was a shitty thing to do, and I think it was a net negative.
Yeah.
But
he could have gotten a little less. Yes, he got a good opportunity. That's fine. But then afterwards, after he made money, to go out there.
But he didn't make money. He didn't make money. See, the problem is with him is
he didn't, because he started talking about it to the media.
Exactly. That was the thing.
Got cocky.
Yeah, you're seeing an example of for every case that gets the spotlight from the media on it, there's 10,000 other people that have the same garage full of shit that they're selling here and there. When things really get bad and you really can't get those things and there are no more deliveries because they're not safe or whatever happens, if that happens or if it doesn't.
Do you really think that's going to happen?
Yeah, I do, actually. Yeah, I think that there aren't going to be deliveries. I think that it'll be something different. It'll be, if it gets bad, I think that we're not going to have easy access to frivolous bullshit because it's going to be too risky.
This wouldn't happen till next fall or winter.
Well, I don't know. I'm not a psychic. I'm just going by, common sense. When you're talking about a large population, a huge group of people that are dying very quickly, and we don't have a vaccine, nobody has immunity, and you can get reinfected, which is terrifying, which I don't think the science is clear on any of these things yet. But I know that when the supply chains break down, you're seeing something, what was it, Whole Foods? There's an example of Whole Foods where they're going to strike. And you know what? I don't blame them. Because you know what? Those people, but you're going to see examples of that where the warehouse staff are not going to go to work because the conditions aren't there. And you can't police the conditions because there's nobody there to police because everybody's sick. And, people are worrying about, eating. And when things get tough, people get crazy. People get rough.
What are you doing different right now? Has anything changed for you? Changed with your business? Changed with your outlook?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, as far as my business goes, I assume that things will be affected long term. I don't know if that's going to be a huge thing. I mean, I'm a digital online business, so I, people always need to promote things if they're in business. So there's always a necessity to that, which is great. But at the same time, people aren't going to make those big moves trying to, start something new as much. And that's going to take a while to rebound.
Is it more repeat right now, containing people?
Oh yeah. Well, for me right now, and the nature of my business is like, website and maintenance and things like that. So right now I'm very busy because everybody has a drastic pivot that they have to make, whether it's for a restaurant that can't do in-house, they're not doing alcohol sales, they're not making those numbers like they used to. So they have to figure out more creative ways to get that revenue coming in through deliveries and pickups and all that. And, you're going to see that type of stuff peter out because some of the businesses aren't going to be able to survive that way. It's not going to be feasible. For some, it will be.
That's the scary part.
Well,
once we see,
yeah,
I mean, and that's going to happen. It is. It's
100% it's going
it's
to
going to
happen.
happen. There's going to be the mom and pop shops,
Yeah.
mom and pop restaurants that will not survive this.
Yeah, and
I've
it's going to be a
seen
lot of
people
them.
get laid off.
It's going to be a lot of them.
There will be more. Like that part is scary. Will
I mean,
we adjust though and get through it, get over, and make the best of it and learn new skills, new traits,
yeah,
new things? We will, because we always do. We'll find a way. But it's a difficult time.
It's a very difficult time for people that are dependent on foot traffic, any retail, anything like that. I mean, you're talking about the small mom and pop
gyms.
Yeah, gyms, all these things, all these types of businesses that are like where there's multiple partners, where they all have different sources of revenue that are kind of going into a collective business. They're going to start contracting. They're going to start closing those businesses to maintain their main source of income. There's going to be a whole shakeup, a whole reorganization, restructure of all these different businesses. And the names and the people that you see that you're used to going and getting your coffee in the morning at the local place, those places aren't going to be around through this. It's just not possible. Not all of them. I mean, some of them are going to make it, but a vast majority of these companies are not going to make it.
You really got me thinking now. Do you think this makes us go full out digital like that?
No.
For example, I'm throwing, this is like crazy, but like the movies that, everything becomes digital. Like if you don't adapt, then we can't survive. That, we start getting, to the point where the phone is pretty much us, like that we start doing things through our phone and more on the go and avoiding people, more contactless payment, contactless, groceries, like contactless stuff.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting question that I don't think that anybody has the answer to that, but I think there's two ways that it can go. I think in my mind, yeah, there's in the short term, people are all going to want to have some sort of way to operate online where they don't have to interact. But long term, I think that this quarantine and this forced social distancing is going to create an anxiety, and it's going to make people realize how important it is to get out and associate with people in person. And I think that there's going to be a higher, people are going to put more value on that, and they're going to take that. It's going to be a lot more important to people. People are going to be kind of dying for that stuff. Not to, I guess that's a bad choice of words, but
wow.
Once
no
this
intended, right?
once this type of stuff pans out, yeah, people are going to want to get out, and they're going to want to, they're going to want to stretch their legs, and that's a good thing. But in the short term, it's going to be definitely a move to digital. I mean, you can see it already. It's only been 2 weeks. Companies that are doing conferences and stuff that are they're doing things online. They're doing things online because they can. But for the companies that like medicine or psychological stuff, like seeing a therapist, all that type of stuff, all those practices, they don't have patients right now. That's not something that, and if they do, it's not going to be sustainable. They're going to need to move to some sort of, if this lasts for a long time, I'm saying, they're going to need to move to some sort of, telework thing, and they're going to have to restructure their business, because why would they pay rent for an office anymore? If all of their business, if we're talking about months and months, they're just going to put themselves in debt, and they're not going to ever get out of it. So
that's very interesting. Yeah. Cause I was thinking about this.
Yeah.
And I felt some of this entrepreneurship stuff, some of this, everybody is going to help change my life stuff,
right.
Over the internet.
Right.
That it was a fad.
Yeah.
That these things are not sustainable. But wow, little did I know something like this could come along, and this might be the new way of life.
Well,
this could be a very, lucrative, like this, not lucrative, but more that this might be the transition we all have to make to stay afloat. Obviously certain things will stay, because food, you can't just not get food, and
it's not Star Trek yet.
It's a physical thing. Yeah.
We don't have the food replicators yet.
No, it's just interesting to be aware and to know what the possibilities are, and to kind of just take it for what it is, and make our best choices every single day.
Well,
which right now are practice, sheltering and social distancing.
yeah.
Not to mean that we can't talk to people like this.
Well, one of the things that I was going to say is, if for anybody that's in business now, don't depend on the government to bail you out. You have to start now. If you haven't thought about pivoting or what you're going to do long term, do it now. Because if you don't do it now, nobody's going to, we get the $1,200 check so you could buy groceries. That's what that's going towards, People are out of work.
We're not really getting bailed out.
We're not. We're not getting bailed out, and we shouldn't get bailed out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there. No, you can't depend on the government to make your decisions for you. What you were doing before this happened is not going to work in a lot of cases. So you gotta pivot and think of creative ways to make things work for the way things are, as opposed to how they used to be. And that goes for everything. I mean, I think that's just good advice to kind of, pay attention to where things will be, and try to meet life there. So that's the advice that I give. I mean, I'm fairly fortunate because I have a digital based company, so we'll be able to weather the storm if we make the right decisions. Hopefully, if the internet goes out, then what happens? What happens if
possible though?
Is it possible? Absolutely, of course it's possible. How? I mean, you want to get crazy with it? I mean, people get attacked when they're weak. When governments destabilize and people are destabilized all over the world and people start getting restless, that's when you're going to see wars popping up. You're going to see things happen. You're going to see people strike. You're going to see things, I mean, you got to really understand that that's how people are. We have, when people get desperate, bad things happen. And that's where it is.
I've heard that before, right? That it's actually the desperation and the panic that will end up being the worst thing at the end.
Well, you see people jumping out of the window of their apartment building. We've only been doing this for less than a month. You see, there's examples of people shooting themselves and killing their family all over the news. There's domestic abuse is way up because people are locked in the house together. All this type of stuff is gonna keep going. I mean, people are crazy. And when they have,
there's going to be a lot of divorces.
Well, whatever. That's the best case scenario, But the fact is that when people are left to their own devices and their own thoughts, they go nuts. So this lockdown is going to really make things. It's going to stir things up. Things are going to get weird for a while, and it may get dangerous. So keep that in mind. And for anybody that is laughing, that thinks that is not a possibility, that it's not that serious, that things are being overblown. That's what those are the people that will wake up one day and they'll be like, "Holy shit, I was wrong," and then they're fucked, But if you at least believe that it's possible that it could actually get that bad, because it has over and over and over throughout history, like clockwork, every 100 years or so, we have a catastrophe like this, and things get shaken up. It's part of nature, I mean, there's something to be said about the fact that the virus is nature's way of kind of evening the scales. Nature self-regulates.
That's for sure.
Nature self-regulates, and that's how it goes. Whether it's social nature, the social.
I think this is a bigger topic. Like this.
Yeah.
This goes into faith. This goes into.
It does. It does.
What you believe in, and I mean this is like a crazy out of this world, and I know you don't want to turn this into a conspiracy talk. So
no, I don't want to go conspiracy talk, but I definitely wanted to make it be known that, or let it be known that these are serious times, and if you're not taking it serious now, you need to start, because nobody's going to save you if you aren't willing to kind of start preparing now for yourself. Some people will make it out just fine, and some people will be better off at the end of this, but a lot of people won't. And it's those people that we need to do what we can do now by kind of sacrificing a little bit, social distancing. Don't go, don't. I mean, I know you just said you went on a run. Don't go on a run. Stay at home. You know what? Go do push-ups in your backyard. don't go outside. Just stay inside, chill. Because if we sacrifice, all of us sacrifice at a really high level, it'll shorten the amount of time that it takes for this to end, hopefully. But one thing's for sure, if just a fraction of the people don't listen, it's going to just draw it out longer and longer and longer. As time goes by, people are going to get more and more desperate, and things are going to get harsher and harsher and more difficult. And if we don't listen now, before it's too late, once it's to the point where we're suffering, it's only going to get worse. So, I'm telling you, man.
That's your opinion. That's strictly your opinion.
Yeah, we'll see. I might be totally wrong. I might be totally wrong, but I don't think I am.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, I haven't been wrong up until now. I haven't been wrong at all. I think I've been spot on. 100% spot on. I think I have been.
The way you've been talking about it, I thought things were going to happen a lot quicker, a lot faster.
No,
I think it's been more the panic that's been the worst part.
Yeah, well, the panic hasn't started yet. That's the problem. See, people think that this is bad. This isn't bad. We haven't even been affected yet.
Before I forget, something you bring up that we should care about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about this in my last podcast, and that was one of my key points, is that we do need to care for ourselves right now.
Yeah.
If we don't, how can we care for anybody else?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not to say that we're going to go out there right now and be Superman. We could try.
No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't go out anywhere, is what I'm saying. We shouldn't be trying to do anything other than sit in the house and shut the fuck up for a little while.
Senior food.
Sure.
Who's going to do that?
Well, the people that do that.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm saying, like, for you,
there's a shortage of volunteers to be able to get food to people right now.
If you want,
obviously, with proper testing and proper, clearances to be able to do that, there's a huge shortage of blood right now.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody has the answers, but I'm saying to widespread, what you're going to see if you listen, just hear me out. Hear me out for a second. Hear me out for a second.
Ourselves, we can care for more.
Yes, care for yourself, but don't think, because if what you're saying is kind of dangerous, actually. You shouldn't be thinking about.
I'm not saying go and do this.
Don't. Please don't. I'm saying, like, what you're saying is you don't.
There's safe ways of doing it. There are.
Yeah, the safest way and the best way to really help people en masse is to stay home and listen to the guidelines and don't take any outside activities. Don't do anything that you don't essentially have to do. Getting food, getting medicine. That's it. If for you to go and deliver food to an elderly person, there's a way higher probability that they'll get sick from that. And what you're talking about, if you're talking about getting active, you're talking to a bunch of people.
How are they going to get food?
There are people that deliver that already. And if there is a shortage, that's fine.
Well,
but you shouldn't be going and trying to figure out how you can help right now. Unless people are asking for help, you shouldn't be trying to figure out ways to help people, because what you're doing is you're taking people that are bored and you're putting ideas in their head about how to become more active. And we don't need that. We don't need anybody to become more active or get involved like it has been. Yeah, people have tried to get involved and wanted to be active.
There are genuine shortages out there right now.
Yeah, there are.
Especially in the medical field, for example.
Right.
There are.
But if you're not a doctor,
they're bringing people back. They're unretiring people.
Absolutely.
They're converting students that are in med school into actually like being to the point where they're licensed and they could do things. And,
that's great.
Different clinics are getting approvals that normally take a year or whatever longer to get approvals right away, temporarily.
That's great.
People. So, I mean,
I just got a message on the phone.
There are needs.
Oh yeah, there are. But I'm saying, like, delivering food to old people. Yes, they need food, but you shouldn't be trying to get involved in that.
Can't get a delivery from anywhere else because there's a shortage. I mean, you want that person to die? No. Like, I will go out there and get groceries for that person.
And I don't
precautions.
I don't mean that you should just not do that. I think that you should allow the system that's in place to do its job now until they ask for help. Because if you're trying to get involved, all you're doing is doing shit you shouldn't be doing. And your chances are you don't know the protocol to safely handle the food. And somebody that does do that is already doing that. So you're going to see that cut off. What you're talking about is doing more harm than good. You can have the greatest intentions in the world, but you're going to end up killing more people doing that.
I agree.
Because you shouldn't go outside, period. So if they need help, like what they did with the phones where they just sent the emergency alert for more nurses and staff, that's great. When they do that, when they ask, that's when you can respond, and they'll choose the best candidate. They'll give you the training that you need. They'll put you in the correct place. But for you to, get on Facebook and say, "Hey, I'm delivering food," you're going to get old people that are uninformed that are going to be like, "Sure, yeah, come," and then you're going to get them sick and they're going to die. So you're doing more harm than good that way. The best thing to do is to follow the guidelines that have been put out, and that's really, I think, all we can do at this time. Doing anything above and beyond, trying to get active and all that type of stuff. That's not the time.
I'm not saying over here, go start a club and go outside and get active.
But people are hearing you and they're thinking that because they're bored, and they'll get bored.
You are talking about your extreme. You are.
You gotta.
You think we're all gonna die?
I don't think we're all gonna die. I think that what we should do is be calm, and I think what we should do is we should sit in the house and wait until they tell us they need our help or they need something. We should just follow the guidelines, because, all this other stuff that's going on, all these other things that we're talking about, that's not the right thing to do. We shouldn't be thinking of ways to help other people right now besides what they're asking us to do to help ourselves right now.
Yes, but if there are actual places asking for help, begging for help right now.
Yeah, if you're a doctor, sure.
It is allowed, then yes, why not? I mean, I think you're thinking that I'm going to go out there and just start like a random food delivery service right now just to start exposing everyone. No.
But people are doing that though. People are doing that though. If you go on Facebook groups, there's people like, "Hey, I'll deliver your food for you. I'm picking up food," and they're going to the store and buying groceries and putting them on people's doorsteps. That's happening all over the place, man.
They are doing this safely and responsibly, and they've been trained by an actual place that.
And right now, that's not happening. That's not happening right now.
Okay. Well,
yeah,
then,
that's all I'm saying. I think that there's just too much. But yeah, it's a scary situation, man.
It's a crazy time.
It is.
It's bringing out the good and the best in people. I mean, it's bringing out the worst and the best in people, because you got the people that are getting together virtually and actually, hopefully spreading some positivity and love, helping other people get through this, talking people off the ledge.
Yeah.
And then you got the ones that are attacking each other and battling. I mean, it's a wild time. I'm curious. We should do updates like this every week, honestly, right now, because every single day there is new news.
Well, it's going to definitely be there's going to be new developments, but I think the most helpful thing that you can probably do right now is just get on the phone and talk about how people are feeling. If somebody that you care about is, sitting at home by themselves, people that need help for the most part don't ask for it. So it's your job to reach out to those people. The people that are depressed, they will be alone and they'll be with their thoughts.
I mean, exactly. Depressed. That's so true. I'm so glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
I've been through there. Like I still battle it.
Absolutely.
And when you're depressed, the last thing you're going to do is reach out for help, reach out to anyone.
Right.
Like you might get that sense of courage and wisdom, and maybe you just get that light and it happens, but no, chances are you won't. So it's very good. It's very important. You should definitely spread that word.
How have you been holding up with your parents and all that? How's everybody in your family been doing?
No, they're pretty fine. I told them to self-quarantine because they were in the middle of a trip as things started peaking. And when they came back, it's been a week and a half now, it's almost 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But I told them straight up, you don't want to endanger anyone. I don't care if you all feel fine. This is, a bigger picture here. And they didn't really understand. They didn't,
did they? Yeah, it's hard. I see the guy across the street. He's an old ass dude. He can't even walk. And he's just in and out. I'm like, where are you going, man? I'm thinking to myself, where is this guy going? Nothing's even open right now. And he, you see examples of that. And, for the most part, there's nothing you can do for people that won't protect themselves. And that's why it's important, I think, to stay inside, because you don't know. The people that are most risky are the ones that you'll encounter, because those are the people that are out and about doing their stuff. And those are the ones you got to avoid, because they are everywhere. Those are the spreaders. So going around and doing all these things, everybody that comes up to you and asks you how you're holding up in person, those are the people that are going to get you sick, or you're going to get them sick, you know? So it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous.
I don't know. That's a thin line there. I'm not saying stay inside at all times, because you're going to go crazy. But if you do go out, be super, super, super careful.
Well, if you go out, I mean, the guidance right now from the government is don't go out unless it's absolutely essential. Unless it's an essential job that you have to travel to.
You could go for a walk or a jog and come back. Like
in some places, and in a lot of places now, you're not allowed to, or they'll arrest you. They're in Chicago now. You're not really allowed to be walking around and stuff like that. You're not supposed to be doing that anymore.
I mean, I still see it.
Sure, yeah, you see crazy stuff. I saw people going and playing a soccer game down the street. You know, it's like
police.
Come on, now.
Police is doing anything about it.
They are, yeah. They're starting to enforce it now.
I've seen police driving around the park numerous times.
Well, they don't want to get sick.
Nothing.
They don't want to get sick, man. And it's brand new. You're going to see that where we are now is what was happening 2 weeks ago, like they say. So 2 weeks from now, you're going to see the results of people not taking this seriously, and the numbers that we have right now.
Well, it's supposed to be the peak, right? They're saying.
Well, yeah, that could be. That's what they're hoping. They're hoping, but it's like 2 weeks from now, you're going to see what's going on today, and you're going to see the numbers are going to be huge. So it's like, why risk it? If you know that if you stay inside, you'll be safe, then why would you go and be doing that stuff? You could kill yourself or kill the people that you love. I just don't think it's worth taking a run. I mean, I know it sucks being stuck in your house, but, you know, it just doesn't make sense, man. It just doesn't make sense to me. I think it's selfish. I think it's selfish to do that. And, you know, but hey, everybody's got their own life to live. It's, you know, for the people that shelter, the people that, you know, heed the precautions, chances are they'll be better off, but it takes a whole village to listen.
If you're not congregating, I don't unless there's.
We don't know how it transmits, man. We don't know how it transmits. It's too new.
My message popped up on the Facebook Live.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, we don't know for sure. Yes, correct. We don't.
Yeah.
But until, you know, unless something comes out soon, like there's no direct evidence that is the case too. That just from walking around, and there's another person walking around, and all of a sudden you're gonna be infected. Like I don't know. I'm not a medical professional, so I don't know.
I think it's too early to tell, so it's not worth the risk. That's all I got to say. That's my opinion. We're just talking about our opinions here, but I would say that it's better to be safe than sorry. I just don't think it's worth the risk for a short-term sacrifice if we could save thousands and thousands of lives, just by, you know, maybe not doing that little thing that you really don't need to do because you're bored. I think it's worth it. So I think that's really what it is. You know, some people just can't do it.
I think we just need to keep our heads up right now, be positive, and yeah, like you said, play our role in helping to stop this thing.
Yeah. Well, all right, man.
Take that as we want, but yeah, let's stay. I want to kind of wind it down and say that I want to spread some positivity, because there is so much negativity. I mean, we just. There was a lot of negativity here, but I mean,
it's negative time, man. It's a negative time.
Not going to avoid the topic. I just want people to know that there's people you can talk to. There's us. There's Steve. There's me. There's a lot of other people. Like, please talk to us. Let's all connect virtually. You know, do something. I don't know, but we're all in this together. You know, this is not like no one is in this alone. And if you feel like it, please let someone know.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a tough time.
It's a sad time for people that were already depressed.
Keep eating good.
Yeah.
Keep eating healthy. Drink your greens. Take your multis. Practice everything the government's telling you to practice.
Yeah.
We're gonna get through it.
We are gonna get through it. That's for sure.
I know it.
Yeah.
We're gonna get through it.
We are definitely gonna get through it. Maybe not all of us, but
We're gonna get through it, damn it.
Yeah. But at some point, we'll figure it out. But
This
yeah,
was good. We should definitely do this like every week, man. I'm telling you.
yeah. Like I
Just
said,
see
I
how
mean, I
things
wanted
change.
to release the episodes. I have some really great episodes that these some of these people are already recorded, and I think
Yeah.
that it's just it wouldn't be appropriate to release that stuff because they're not even working right now. So it's it just seems like a crazy thing. But what do you got coming up here with Boss to Boss?
I've actually got a lot of interviews lined up. So definitely we might postpone like you are doing. Same thing. Postpone some interviews that were supposed to come out.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I am doing a few emergency interviews that I want to talk strictly about what's happening right now.
Yeah.
Because like you said, this isn't going to go away overnight.
No.
This is going to be here for at least next few months of our lives, definitely. And I think we all need to hear how people are dealing with it and how we could find the silver lining in this, and maybe what someone says could help save somebody else. And
definitely,
that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, it's a good place to be, man. We have a platform here. We can talk to people, whether they like what we're saying or not. They have the opportunity to listen, and they can leave us comments. We got Vito G over here, DJ V over here in the chat, DJ V in the chat. But yeah, no, I love that. I love that we can have these conversations, and if there's anything that people can get out of it that's positive, then it's a mission accomplished. But yeah, no, I agree. I look forward to the things that you have coming out. We have some great interviews, and yeah.
As well. I look forward to this one being released and hearing the feedback we get. Please, please comment on this video if you're watching on Facebook Live. Please, let's
let us know what you think.
Let's have a conversation, right?
Yeah. Most importantly, what are you doing to prepare, and what do you think the time frame for this specific thing is going to be? Do you think it's going to be? Do you think I'm overstating it, or do you think it's going to be worse than I'm saying? Sound off in the
or
in the
is it going to
comments.
be not as bad?
Right. It like if that I'm overstating it. Like it's like it's totally not that serious.
Is
right.
Steve right? Is Steve really right, or is he totally wrong?
Yeah. I hope I'm totally wrong. I hope we laugh about this next week and we're all back to work. But I doubt it. But yeah. Okay. Well, guys, thanks again for tuning in. Check out Boss to Boss weekdays, Monday and Wednesdays, if I can get it out on time. Sorry about the delays recently. There's a global pandemic emergency happening, so it's been a little rough.
Oh, what a good excuse. What a good excuse.
But yeah, I mean, I appreciate it, and we'll be doing this more often, definitely. We'll keep you up to date, and we'll be seeing you again soon. So
yeah, well, and this one will be out on the local level show, so
yep.
We'll
subscribe
that one there. But subscribe everywhere. Mac and Black, local level, PodRiver.com.
PodRiver.com. You can check it all out. At some point, hopefully, we'll get back to doing Mac and Black. But for now, there's no sports. So
yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah,
but gotta keep it up. Keep our heads up.
All right.
Take care.
Later.